So welcome everyone to our session here with Irina Zaks. This is Contributing with Ease equals Moving Drupal Issues. As we go through the session, please feel free to post questions in the chat window. I'll be collecting any questions that might pop up there so that we can address those at the end of the session. And as we go through any questions that we might not be able to get to before the end of the session, we'll make sure that are collected so that Irina can get to those at the end of the camp. So again, please feel free to post in the chat and we will address those at the end of the session. So without further ado, Irina, please take it away.
Kelly, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever people are at this time of the day. Thanks for coming to my session. It's a rather informal session because I'm going to be showing new tools and new processes. So if you have questions, please do post them in the chat and I will be happy to answer or go over details. My name is Irina Zaks. I live in Bay Area and I've been working with Drupal forever by now. And today I'm going to talk about end of life for Drupal 8 and Drupal 7 and how we want to be prepared with modules and have tools that allow us to keep working on with Drupal 9 efficiently. So I'm going to switch to my presentation window now. In this presentation, we're going to first set the context and review how we're testing patches for Drupal modules. We will demo a quick setup for new tool that is called defpanel that allows us in browser coding and in browser testing, and how we can use Git submodule to pull different patches from GitLab Drupal. I'm going to talk about very specific process. It doesn't cover all the big questions about Drupal and Drupal modules, and it's targeted for low-code contributors, though I think everyone will benefit from learning these new tools. And we're talking about specifically testing patches for various modules. We're going to be doing live demo. Things will break, so feel free to ask questions and point out on bugs and whatever goes wrong. So first, we're going to set context of this presentation that is related to Drupal, both Drupal 7 and Drupal 8 end of life. With Drupal 8 going away, we have a little over 100 days to make sure that all the modules that we have in Drupal 8 in our sites are compatible with Drupal 9. And lots of small bugs exist and lots of patches are posted in modules. For Drupal 7, we have a little bit more time, but the process is more complicated. The modules need to be ported rather than fixed. So we need better tools that will allow us to test modules, test patches, and we're working within ecosystem of Drupal users where coders can actually code and submit patches, but it would be really great if open source community, site builders, low-code users will have better tools that allow them to contribute more efficiently. In various events, I have seen lots of people coming and happy to give their time, but the setup is so complicated that they can't break through that and contribute time to the level where issues can be actually pushed to reviewed by community. So when we're looking at the Drupal issue lifecycle, first bug is submitted with a stat and then status is active. Then needs work is where coders need to figure out solution. And in today's presentation, I'm addressing mostly status issues with status that needs review. This is a situation where patch has been submitted And then we need module maintainers and coders can use help of community support to test patches. And this is a pretty complex process at this point because there's a lot of steps that people need to do before they can actually test the patch. They need to have local environment. They need to add contrib module with the patch. They need to have some data for testing and run test scenarios. And this first part, setting up local environment and pulling branches and applying patches, can be very time consuming. And because of that, with new tools, we're trying to set up opportunity for in-browser testing, hoping that that will allow more people to give their time towards actual testing. There are lots of different tools that are being developed for that. I think there was a presentation about GitPod, DrupalPod, and today we're going to demo defpanel, which is another very good tool that allows us to very easily set up and test modules. So this is my login into defpanel. And first thing that I do, I need to create a project. So I have my workspace set up in defpanel here, and I can have more than one workspace. I'm going to be using this one. And in this workspace, I can create a project. So when I create a project, I'm going to give it name demo. And I'm going to click next. Here, I can pick up pre-selected application. I'm going to go with Drupal 9, but if people are working with other systems, they're all set there. And I'm going to be using my existing GitLab account right here. This goes to authorization, and I can either use existing repository or I can create new repository. And once I click create new repository, I will give it a name, and then I'm going to confirm and create the project. And within 1 minute, I will have my Drupal installation set up. Once the project has been created and deployed, I can move on and initialize this and deploy the project. Projects can have different status. They can be just set up, or they can be deployed depending on what people want to see. So this project is deployed, and I'm going to go into my branch, and I'm going to start working with my Drupal 9 setup. So I deployed, the next big step for me is I need to decide what module I want to test. I selected here example, very high level modules that need a lot of testing. And next big step, and this is huge difference that happened not so long ago, is that now instead of applying just having patch, in addition to having the patch, I can instantly create an issue fork with this branch. And once it's created, I can pull this fork into any repository that I am using. However, when I'm doing it, I need to make sure that my module is set up so that I can easily pull any patches. So here, in this installation, and I absolutely love defpanel. This is a newer tool. It provides me with instant access to everything that I need. I have instance to Drupal 9 that has been set up here. I have access to my database, and I have full access to VC Code. So I can code without spending time trying to fix my computer with all the tools that keep changing, like moving from Composer 1 to Composer 2, any other things that keep changing. I don't have to deal with this anymore. So here I have full installation, and with defpanel quick start, I can set up my module that I will be testing as a Git submodule. What that means is that I have main site is being pulled from my repo on GitLab. This is my here in defpanel. I can access this repo where I have my custom information or custom site. However, I can go into module directory, and I'm pulling this directly from the feeds module. And this is huge advantage that I get with this setup, that if I want to test the new patch, for example, if I want to test, this has been on my list of things that I wanted to do for a long time. So there's this issue with feeds module that is blocker for a number of other issues. So testing it and confirming that it has been reviewed and tested for community is very important. So the way I can do it now is in this setup, I can branch. I can set up different branches that I can pull directly from Drupal repo. So when I install module first time, I will be on branch 8x3x. So this is the version of the module that people get when they install module. So here I can set up whatever I need to do. I can create feed type. I can make sure that it has all the features that I need. And then I can run the test. And the test is when I want to import information, I'm going to say, okay, import, and make sure that there is no problems. I can do all the things that I need to do with this module. So the testing scenario is good. And I can see that it works. It did create whatever I needed. I can see that content is coming in correctly, and I'm very happy with that. So the next step, and this is where the heart for this new option to test more efficiently, if I want to check out branch that I just created for the patch. So here in here, I can see that this is the branch that I need. This is the name of the branch. And I can see it here on Drupal GitLab. This is the branch. If I check out this branch using this commands, it has been already preset on my instance. Then I can say, okay, now there's a branch that I want to test. I will gonna say git checkout name of the branch. And now I can see that double check that it is actually on this branch. And now when I am going here and flushing caches, I know that I'm working with a new code that has been already patched. And I was able to show it within presentation. Normally for me to set it up takes much longer. And now I'm going to go back to this and do the same scenario that I did. And if it runs correctly, then I can, let me demo that things do run correctly with a patch. And that when I'm mapping feeds, I can add everything works correctly. If I need to map more items, I can do that. Nothing is broken. Let's say I want to do this one. I can select source from my CSV. This is when I can say, all right, this module is working, and I can go back here, add my notes, and change status of this module from needs review to reviewed and tested by community. And this is makes a huge difference that I can spend now time concentrating on test scenarios, concentrating on data, concentrating on how I can make sure that patches don't break previous versions, instead of concentrating on dev issues that are related purely to DevOps. So these are all the huge benefits of this approach. And in addition to setting up just new project, I can also set various branches here. So in addition to master branch, if I need more, I can set additional branches. I can invite collaborators to my workspace. So this way they can join me, and maintainers of the modules can easier access results. So if there is a bug in the patch and I'm reporting this bug, it's much easier for maintainers to see things here than if I'm doing all the testing on my local machine, because then I need to describe problems in detail, and if maintainer can't reproduce it, that it slows down process of fixing the bugs. So this we already did. And here's our next slide. Please help us with testing feeds. The reason why I spent last couple of months in WebOps is because I've been working with modules feeds and Migrate plus feeds. My main core operations is migrations, moving things into new sites, keeping imports running, and it was taking so much time to test features that I decided that it's time to stop and find and sharpen the tools that help me reach my goal. With this, I want to, so this is end of the demo, and I'm going to stop sharing screen, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions. And I don't know if we have chat in Hopin or what is the most efficient way to do that.
All right, looks like the only question we have so far is if you will be sharing the slide deck, Irina.
Yes, I will be sharing slide deck. Kelly, let me know where is the best, should I add it to the session or should I email it to you? What's the best way to do that?
If you want to post it in the Asheville Slack, if you're in the Drupal Asheville Slack, that's perfect. And then we can also get it uploaded to the website.
Okay.
That will work as well.
I will either put it in Asheville Slack. There was, I think it was in a conference yesterday where we could share things. I will maybe shoot it to Emma June because I'm on Slack with her directly.
Perfect. That'll work.
Okay. And I can also show different features of this system if people are interested. I really like the way the system is set, where I can very easily access. So I can create branches if I need to. I can easily export database and files. I do have standard security features where I can make some instances closed, and it's great to have working log that I can access very easily. The great thing about defpanel is that it works both with AWS and Kubernetes. Currently, there is some custom work that needs to be done to set it up, but I believe the defpanel team is working on automating that as well. There's just lots and lots of great things about this tool, and we plan to begin using it on production sites before Colorado Camp. And I would love to invite people to join next episode with new things in Colorado Camp as well.
Right, and we have another question that's come in the chat. How long did it take you to set up the environment?
When you say environment, you mean the AWS environment? So I worked with the defpanel team, so they set up the. Here's the thing: when you're setting the workspace, and you're deciding whether you want to do it on AWS or on GKE, that's the part I didn't do myself. I worked with defpanel team, but once this part is set up, you saw that it is pretty much instant. So when I was setting Drupal environment, we did it in this demo. So first thing we clicked, let me go through that again. So here in the workspace, I said create project. And then here was gonna start Drupal 9. I'm gonna do it with GitLab. You can also do it with GitHub or Bitbucket, depending on where you are storing. And then we said create new repository. And we can also use existing if you want to. And then here it took, we can count its seconds. It's about, I believe, less than a minute to create the project. So right now it will start creating the project. And when the project has been created, then the next step you need to do is you need to deploy it. So the project that I create, and all the projects are, you can see them in your workspace. So this is the one that I created.
Irina, could you share your screen again?
Oh, my apologies. I'm so sorry, guys. I was under impression that I'm sharing, so I keep clicking. I just keep clicking, very excited about, here we go, here we go. Okay, let's do it again.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay, so this is my workspace, Irina's workspace. In the beginning of the session of the demo, I clicked here, create project, and the project has been created. And when the project is created, is not deployed. So here at this point, I only have the code. Then the next step is I can either get database from one of existing projects, and then it will, if I have any applications, it will give me here. Or I can deploy new application now. And when I click here, it will, I'm going to just do from scratch. is going to ask me a couple of questions about how do I want it to be set up. And I'm going to click deploy. Now, this process is a little bit longer. I think we timed it. It's between 2 and 3 minutes. And when it is completed, it looks like this. Like this. And right now I have only master branch, but all this information you can see when the project has been deployed. So this is a very quick process and very efficient. And once it's deployed, you can go to either code or database and operate whatever you need. And then there's like additional tools, like you can, the great thing that I really like is that I have all the information in here as well. I usually don't work in the layer where it's Docker, the lower layer of DevOps. It's not where I work. I'm kind of more on the data structures, information architecture, actual Drupal building, site building. And the reason why I'm learning all these things is because when these things don't work, it takes me hours and hours and hours to get to my goal, and my goal is to test patches. And so so application is queued to be deployed, and once it will be deployed, we will see all this information as well. Did I answer the question? Oops. Okay.
All right. Any other questions? All righty. Okay, well, thank you so much.